Our reels that perform best have the actual person talking in the video, not a voiceover. That's the hierarchy of what I would consider good videos is when it's scripted, planned, there's a hook, and there's an actual person talking to the camera in it. Those would be the best. Then voiceovers. It could be about anything, telling about the day, giving advice. Sometimes memes pop off. You know the chill guy with like the dog that
Yeah.
was pretty viral for like a month or so. It was literally no effort and got like 30,000 views.
Nobody's born incredible. People who do incredible things simply took the right steps. This is our journey. This is the hunt for incredible. Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Hunt for Incredible. On this episode, we have my man, Brandon Hien. So Brandon is 29 years old and he quit his job making $250,000 a year in sales in the tech industry and pivoted over to marketing. He tried a bunch of side hustles. His story is very interesting. Ended up in marketing for the #1 small hostel in North America, voted by Hostel World. And all of my backpackers will know Hostel World is basically like the anchor. They are the top dogs to get that type of recognition from, which is super cool. With Brandon's marketing behind them, they've recently hit record highs with making $140,000 in January, and they're still on track with their goal to be building it up to a $400 million company, which I'm super stoked to dive into on that marketing aspect, because that's something that I'm forever fascinated by and obsessive about. So Brandon, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Been loving following your journey as well, making content, and running your hotel business. So pumped to talk.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. So let's dive right into the nuts and bolts here. What are you currently focused on in terms of building the brand, and how are you doing it for these hostels? Like, what does your marketing effort look like to actually drive up that revenue and hit those record numbers?
Yeah. So just as some context, I lead all the marketing and growth for our hospitality business. And right now, our core properties are hostels. We own 2 hostels out in Hawaii. And I joined recently to really help accelerate that online growth because, in today's day and age, your presence online is everything. That comes from like you as a person and you as a business. So we're putting a heavy focus on getting our hostel's name out there so that when people are going to stay at a property, we're their first choice. Because especially for people who stay in hostels, the younger generations, Gen Z and millennial, Instagram and TikTok is their search engine. It's not Google anymore. So when people are looking up for a cool place to stay in Hawaii, you'll just see House at Hostels all over the feeds. And we create videos that get people excited and want to come and book us over our competitors.
Yeah, and let's take a second to break down what hostels are and what the demographic is for people who don't know. So I spent a lot of time backpacking through Europe towards the end of my collegiate career and a lot after my collegiate career, and everywhere I stayed was in hostels. So what makes hostels unique is they're sold by the bed. They are much more focused on culture and experience than just a place to crash. Something like social media, I imagine, it's such a greater lever, but it's also such a critical factor where if you don't have that, then you're just absolutely nothing. So how do you tie the content into the culture to make sure that all the work you guys are putting into the culture to make it an incredible environment translates over to the content that you're putting out?
Yeah. So one of our biggest core values and things we like to push at House at Hostels is community. When people go to hostels, typically they're either solo traveling or traveling with a friend, and they go there to meet people and they go there to go on adventures with other people. Let's say none of your friends want to go on this trip. You can send it yourself. And if you show up at a hostel, specifically House at Hostels, there's going to be activities every single day for you to go to meet a bunch of people on our bus. So we take people on free tours every day. Everyone hangs out in the kitchen. They make food together. They eat together. And that's what they want, right? They don't want to just necessarily, and the demographic is younger, right? So they don't want to just go and stay in any random hotel. They're specifically going to go on adventures with other people. So we put a lot of focus in our videos on showing the free tours that we give, showing people laughing and having fun together and making friends, making sure all the copy and the captions is about, hey, come hang out with our family, come make new best friends. You're going to be in all these new group chats with your friends after this trip. And what's really cool is when I go to the hostel and I've overheard other people saying, Like I came back specifically because I saw all these videos of people going on tours on Instagram and I got FOMO and I needed to come back out myself. So we post nearly every day and it people who maybe at home not doing much wanting to go on vacation, they constantly keep seeing us pop up over and over again, all these people having fun with people they just met, and makes them want to come. So that's a big thing. Another thing we push, because there's a little bit of a narrative about hostels that some of them are, just the cheapest place to stay, or they may not be so nice. And that narrative is a lot bigger in America, right, than it is in Europe or Asia, where hostels are everywhere. So we go completely against that, where we set the standards extremely high for cleanliness, safety, security. We have female only dorms. So, that's actually those are our highest grossing rooms, because girls will pay a little bit more to know that they're going to be in a female only dorm. It's clean, it's safe, secure. They're going to get towels. And it's not like your typical impression of a hostel. So I would say those are the two main things that we push, is the community vibe, and then the clean, safe, and secure. So it's really like the best of both worlds.
That's awesome. And then how do you have set up the funnel to the call to action? So is it a link to capture emails and then you directly reach out to them, or is it direct booking? Like what does that system look like?
Yeah. So what we do is we post a lot of direct booking links that they can book directly on our website, because all my other hospitality owners will know when you book through OTAs, and OTAs are your things like booking.com, Expedia, Hostel World, those third-party sites where a lot of people find bookings, and they take a commission, about 15%. So we can drive direct bookings and make people specifically want to stay at our hostel instead of just looking up places to stay in Hawaii and then booking through booking.com. We save on that 15%. So we're really getting 15% more by driving that. So since we use Instagram a lot, we'll put booking links in there. And then we also run a lot of promotions with influencers, which is a new strategy we've been using that's been working really well. And I think a pretty cool topic to dive into as well.
Yeah, there are a handful of directions to take this conversation, so I'm keeping a catalog because the influencer marketing, that's something that we're gearing up to push on our hotel as well, that we recently closed on. We're done with renovations here in a month, and we're exploring the different subcategories of influencers to see which ones translate over to our hotel properly. So as you're
Mhm.
looking for influencers, what types of influencers have you found yield the best return, whether it's size of audience or specific niche or some other factor?
Yeah, so we really look for people who focus on content that our avatar would be watching, which is obviously, of course, travel content. So whether that be, day in the life videos where people are talking about the best things to do in a certain city, the best places to stay, um, and ones that also highlight the property itself a lot, So we look out for people who it's too much of just pictures of them or just videos of them, and it's like me, me, me. We try to avoid those because their followers may be more interested in them instead of the places we're going. So we look for influencers who are actually showing off the locations that they go, giving tips, giving advice, and we found that those perform better. Actually, some of the ones with the quote unquote smaller followings have done better as well. I think I'm also learning how to direct influencers, because we had a really big one who, like 250,000 followers, but just didn't really make kind of the video the way we wanted it or what we would expected. And I take the blame because I didn't really give enough direction. So we've had about 10 influencers come through now, and I've learned so much about what to ask from them and how to actually run that process to make it effective as well. Because if at first I was like, hey, just use your creative genius, but it doesn't always, the videos always don't turn out the way we hope, because they may not be looking at it through our lens. So
Yeah, so when you say smaller and the smaller ones yield a better return, what size are you talking? Is that nano influencers, the 5 to 15,000 followers?
yeah, yeah. The like 5 to 20. We had a couple of those do really good.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the other type of person is right. There's the influencer you use for the following, but then there's the professional videographer or filmmaker where they may not necessarily have a big following, but they can create super good cinematic videos.
Mm.
And we can or like fly FPV drones. So, and we may just have them send the videos to us because then it's a different style of video that we can put on the Instagram, and it may capture the person who is like, oh my God, Hawaii is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And they want to go see it. And then you have the other group that is, they don't need the highly produced videos. They just want to see the community and stuff like that. So we try to get both from each side.
Yeah, we're working with a landscape photographer he does a lot of cool drone stuff and video, mostly photography, like cool time lapse stuff. And his work is insane, but he's interested in breaking into the hospitality space. So we're going to be working with him a lot to create some really cool content I'm stoked about. We also found that, yeah, those nano
Nice.
influencers yield a greater return. And we also found that um, overlap of different hospitality subsectors tend to do well. So I'm like food bloggers that blog about hotels.
Mm.
Like though that demographic tends to translate over well as well because we're in the Central California wine country. And so food bloggers that go to
Mhm.
restaurants and they say, also, this is where I stayed and got a nice glass of wine and lounged in the front garden afterwards. Like we find that there's a lot of great synergy there that we're looking to explore also.
Oh yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like an overlapping of niches.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. What do you find is the typical, we're both background in tech, I want to say user experience. What is like the typical
Mhm.
guest journey when purchasing or booking a night? Is it like, so you have a piece of content, let's say it goes viral, it's a direct link to book at your property. Do you find that the
Mhm.
typical guest journey is to follow the page and then you hit them with a few more pieces and then they book, or do they typically book directly from a viral post, or is it a few ads that they're hit with? Like how does that?
Yeah, that's something we're actually trying to figure out right now because it is a common challenge for us and both other people in hospitality and advertising. It's like it is hard to track exactly because if you think about it, I know the way I purchase, I may watch somebody or some account for a year, never engage with anything, and then buy something from them. I'm sure you've done the same thing,
Yeah.
whether it's buying coaching programs or buying something. So I just know because of my experience of people I know and how I buy and how other people buy that someone may watch our Instagram for a year because they saw a video they really liked and they think the videos are funny. And then a year from now, when they go to Hawaii, they may end up staying with us. And it's very likely that that is happening. It's hard to track exactly. One way we can track it is we'll give influencers discount codes where we'll give them a discount code 15% off so they'll promote that code and then someone will purchase through that code. So that's one way to track it as well. But yeah, we're still trying to figure out the perfect system for figuring out that lifestyle journey. I think, life cycle journey. I think that's a common challenge for a lot of people in the hospitality business.
Yeah. And in just e-commerce and tech across the board, it's so messy. It's like you have so much data, but it's such a like a bowl of soup in terms of like how do you parse it and correlate things and actually track guests through that journey. That's really, really difficult. In terms of
Yeah, and so
marketing,
so one
no, go on.
I was going to say so one way we're tracking it is just simply to see if direct bookings are increasing. Because if direct bookings are increasing, then that means people are finding
Right.
us from ways other than just Googling and finding us on booking.com or Hostelworld. And those have been going up, direct bookings.
Oh, nice. Nice. What is there a typical delay in when direct bookings increase? Like let's say your engagement goes up by 50%. Do you see that maybe the direct bookings go up by, I don't know, just to throw out a number, 5%? Does that happen like 1 or 2 months later, or is it pretty immediate in terms of capturing people who are in the moment wanting to book something? So right when something goes viral, you see the direct booking spike immediately.
So to give a hard confirmed answer, I would say we're still too early on because we're only a few months into both me joining the team and focusing heavily on this. But we have seen the direct bookings steadily growing over time as we've created better content for social media, and then had influencers on. But again, my especially with it being out in Hawaii, suspicion is that it's a big ask to get someone who wasn't planning on going to Hawaii to drop everything and go to Hawaii because they saw an Instagram video. So my suspicion is that like when we look back a year from now, the direct bookings are going to be significantly more because over time people are going to be planning their vacations and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which may be different than like a local place like yours. Or I follow some other hospitality people, and if it's an hour down the road and it's like, oh, come to this cute weekend getaway here, that's a lot simpler of an ask. Hawaii's far.
Yeah. Yeah, that
It is, yeah.
no, go on.
I was gonna say, but yeah, it's a dream vacation for many. So
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, our approach very much is revolving around like the weekend getaway, this coming weekend getaway with your pet, hang out in Central California wine
mhm,
country. We have this package for you, golf package, pet package, whatever else. And so yeah, our approach is a little different. I imagine with your approach,
yeah,
it'll be more of like when somebody looks up Hawaii on Instagram, you mentioned TikTok and
mhm,
Instagram are the search engines of the newer generations, like making sure that your name sits on the top. So is that more
yes.
of a matter of like making sure that you have better engagement than everybody else in that area? And is that something that you track?
Yeah. So we have significantly more activities. We just passed our rival hostel in followers pretty much as soon as I came on after
Nice.
a couple months. Shortly, we'll have the most followers out of all hostels on Maui. But just looking at competitors, not even both in Hawaii, but as hostels anywhere in America or the world, our social media is going to be the best. We post the most out of anyone. It's just going to keep getting better and better. So I have no doubt that we'll lead the social media space for hostels. And the big reason of that is because our co-founders believe, are putting a big emphasis on it, bringing me on and allowing that to be my sole focus. Social media is not a part-time job and it's not easy. I mean, you can do it part-time, but it's not, we're going to be the best.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's more of like the way hostel people travel. They may not even know, they don't even know what they're doing next week a lot of the time. So they're going to go on and type in places to stay in Hawaii on Instagram or on TikTok. And then there's going to be a million videos of our hostel popping up showing people going on adventures together, cooking together, silly skits. They just know it's going to be a good time and a good vibe when they come.
Yeah. And that's something I need to give you props here. Y'all's content is fantastic for a handful of reasons, not just like the quality of the production, but also your storytelling. Like it's always evident to me when somebody goes from YouTube to Instagram because like it flows nicer, the narrative is nicer, just like feels less like aggressively stimulating. Like I feel like the old school Instagram is much more like shouting in your face and shiny objects to try to capture your attention. And there's a newer wave of Instagram, which I think is a lot of people coming over from YouTube, but also just picking up notes of YouTube, and the algorithm is rewarding that style more, which is this like calm storytelling flow. And it takes you on a journey, even if it is still brief at 45 to 90 seconds long. And you guys have been nailing that well. And a lot of that, of course, is from you and your YouTube background. So major shout out there.
Thanks. Appreciate that. And for that, are you referring to more of our business content?
Yeah, yeah, the stuff that I mean, you just posted the other day of you guys hiking through, and I guess that is more like the business content and journey of it, but that stuff is fantastic, dude. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I definitely really appreciate that. I've been seeing a lot of your videos too. I really like them. Good hooks, keep the user engaged. But yeah, that's a whole different style of content. We've been talking about the content specifically for the House at Hostel social media, which actually I've been working on delegating out to both the volunteers who are at the hostels. So if people don't know, hostels are run by essentially volunteers who get free beds, and we delegate them social media time and through influencers. Because at the end of the day, my highest and best use isn't necessarily creating travel content; it's growing the brand for our founders and our investment company. So that's also what I spend a lot of time doing, right? Because our founders, they're real estate experts. They created the number one small hostel in North America. They're tried and true proven operators, but they hadn't been on social media until a year ago. So Now, what I'm doing for them is essentially helping to show the world what they do and their daily life and how they operate and kind of get those thoughts that are may have been in their head or may have only been behind people they work with in closed doors out onto social media as well.
What does the engagement with the staff on site look like to create that content? Like what are you communicating with them? How do you plan things out? What does processing that content look like?
So I used to meet. We have two locations. On one location, we have a really amazing girl who does social media there. And at this point, I let her do what she wants because she makes funny videos. She has all the ideas. So that's definitely a valuable asset. We also have another site, and what I'll do is when someone's comes on new as a volunteer, we'll meet. I'll send them like examples of reels that I want them to make. Like if I see a travel reel or a hospitality reel or just something funny, I'll send it to them and ask them to recreate it. And then also I'll tell them to focus, get shots of the guests laughing with each other, and get some photos of them making food together. Make sure you get videos of the waterfall, close-ups, far away shots. So kind of direct them like that. But yeah, it's awesome when you can have people on site who get the vision, and that's what I look for. So, don't necessarily want to bring people on who've never created content before. They've got to have an eye for it and understand.
Yeah, that makes sense. What characteristics of posts have you found drive the most engagement? Is it the cool waterfall shots? Is it people laughing? Is it the funny stuff? Like, what are you looking for in each reel that you've noticed pops off?
Yeah, so I would say the skits that we do pop off, and that's because it
Oh,
maybe
wow.
we have more of a younger audience in their 20s, but we like to keep it balanced out. But it's kind of like a pattern interrupt when a lot of travel content is just like waterfall, trees, beach, and it's just iPhone clips stitched together. Those ones are the lower performing ones, where it's just iPhone clips stitched together. There's actually got to be a story or people interacting with it, right? People like watching other people. So one thing I notice about some influencers is they won't do talking in it. And our reels that perform best have a person talking. And ideally, it's an actual person talking in the video, not a voiceover. I would say that's kind of like the hierarchy of what I would consider good videos is when it's scripted, planned, there's a hook and there's an actual person talking to the camera in it. Those would be the best. And voiceovers, where it could be about anything, telling about the day, giving advice. And then the lowest tier is just clips stitched together. Sometimes memes pop off, like if
Really?
there's
What's been your most
fun.
viral meme?
Um, eh, it was the chill guy with like the dog that
Yeah.
was pretty viral for like a month or so. The meme was like I'm just a chill guy, but something, and it was like you told your mom you were coming home, but I'm just a chill guy that booked another week at the hostel. It was like literally no effort and got like 30,000 views. And does
Yeah.
it actually translate to any bookings? Who actually knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's got to be a good balance.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's so wild how that shakes out. I have some posts that I sink a ton of time into, and I'm like, yo, this slaps. And then it flops. And then others that I just rip out just to like get it out there and stay consistent. And then those will pop off. It's so unpredictable.
Yeah, and as long as you know that, like I've been in marketing and around marketers for long enough that I just know that's how it is. Like if people are starting off, or if you beat yourself up over that, because I'm in all these groups and a lot of people will beat themselves up, like it's not fun. Like I put all this effort into a video, it does nothing, and this low effort video does great. You just got to know that's how it is. And if you look at it like that and you don't let the performance of any single video affect your mood or affect your drive, that's ideal because all marketers deal with that same thing.
Yeah, man. That's why I have an expression that I'm constantly thinking about, which is fuck the marshmallow. Like I have merch made that says F the marshmallow on it. And the idea is it's premised on that study where they had a bunch of kids in a room and they gave them one marshmallow. And the guy said, I'm gonna leave the room. You can eat the marshmallow, or if you wait until I get back and you haven't eaten it yet, then you get two marshmallows. And they followed the kids later on in life and found that the kids that were able to have that delayed gratification ended up doing better in life. And the whole premise is, of course, if you can have the self-regulation and delayed gratification, then you will have more down the road. And my whole
Yes.
mentality is like, screw the marshmallow altogether. Like I'm not here for the marshmallow. Like I'm here for the process. I don't have the right to the fruit of my labor. I just have the right to the labor itself. And just like committing to cranking out content, giving the world
Yeah.
something interesting that adds value to them, and not even thinking about the rewards that it reaps or how many followers do I have? What does engagement on this look like? Like I'll have posts that flop and I'll leave them. Some people delete them. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
screw it. That was a post that I liked, so I'm gonna leave it up there. I don't care if people, and just like getting it
Yeah.
out and being willing to like pound, like there's so much value in being willing to pound your head against the wall with knowing that you are chipping away at something and eventually you'll break through the wall, but you're not even thinking about breaking through the wall right now. You're just thinking about pounding your head against that wall and just letting time do the rest, just letting the score take care of itself.
Yep. Well, 100%. I'm 100% in agreement with all that. And if you genuinely enjoy it, it makes it easy. But yeah, just based on what you said, I think we both have that undeniable belief that, it's going to work if you do it for long enough, but also don't do it with just the intention of making it work. Do it because it's fun and, you want to give.
Yeah, falling in love with the process. Yeah, it's like if you're playing a game and you stare at the scoreboard, you're never going to win. Like the scoreboard is good because that is how you win, but if you just stared at the whole game, then you're not going to get there. So, like keep your eye on the ball. What do you do in
Exactly.
terms of testing? Like do you do split testing? Do you use the trials feature on Instagram? Do you test on TikTok? What's your process there?
So we haven't got to the point where we're split testing or doing trials yet. And honestly, that's just because I'm making so much content right now amongst everything else. I'm just trying to keep up because I do more than just make content. I do a lot of other stuff related to marketing and online growth for the business. So yeah, probably will do that eventually. But in terms of testing, I just keep creating new styles of videos. I've been in the marketing world for so long, like the online and all that stuff, that I've seen so many styles of video that I just keep trying different styles. And for example, at one point on our investment account slash our owner's account, we were giving like a lot of tips and tricks, and then we were like, this is just another business tips and tricks account. So we started filming more organic content. We would just film our team meetings. We would film us talking to each other. And then those videos started performing better because people want to follow people. They like following the story and stuff like that. It's not just necessarily just being preached at.
Mm.
So we try a lot of different things. We don't want to, yeah, we don't want to come off all the time too preachy. So we try to show more personal stuff. Then we actually mix stuff from like our owners' personal lives into their account because people want to see that. So it's just about constantly trying new kinds of content to see what works.
When you say creating content that still tells a story, is that content piece part of a longer narrative where maybe you have a series about how the hostel is doing something over time? Or are these more short form where maybe it's someone talking to the camera who's never been on camera before, but then within that 45 to 90 seconds, you tell a full story. So it's like full independent episodes per post.
Yeah. So at this point, it's independent episodes. I 100% believe that a longer storyline would create more engagement and would do that for us. As soon as we get our next property, we're going to be able to do that. So I believe that that's the way to go. Create like a TV series. We were doing stuff. We haven't necessarily got to that point because at this point we're just pumping out content. But I do believe the longer story narrative would be ideal. And I've tried to mix that in. I've made like two-part videos where the first video we talked about a problem and the hostel was having, and the second part was the solution to the problem. So I'm definitely aware that that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, what I've found with my content, and the algorithm on Instagram is shifting to be much closer to TikTok as of late, but it's that whenever I post reels that are part of a longer narrative. So for example, I was at the hotel during renovations and I would have these periodic updates on how renovations were going and I'd tell the story and it'd be me on camera talking. I found the engagement was significantly higher with people who had followed me for a while, but my reach was lower. But then when I created
Yeah.
these one-off posts, my reach would be significantly higher, but my engagement with people who had been following me longer was lower. So it's kind of this like
Yeah.
this interesting trade-off. I'm still working out exactly how I want to leverage that with my brand and everything else. But yeah, so that's why I always ask anybody who's in marketing and content is like how they're looking at that space, because the algorithm with Instagram, it used to be you create a post and it shows it to your followers first, and then if it does well, then it'll branch out. Now they're shifting to TikTok where they just show it to anybody, and so the follower count is more of a vanity metric. And so I'm now thinking through, okay, how do we combine the long form narrative that makes people want to stay interested for a longer period, while at the same time incorporating a short form narrative so that each piece of content can stand on its own to actually get reach. And I think that's the magic sauce. I'm still playing with how to fine tune it, but yeah, always interested to hear thoughts like yours on that.
Yep, I'm in agreement with all that. I think it's a combination of both, right? Like there's value in having the longer story that people want to follow, and there's value in making a post has a hook. By the way, I'm Gideon. I'm doing the renovation on this hotel, and you're making a video as if somebody has never seen you before. So I think both would be ideal. Even when me and our co-founder Nate just went to this mastermind trip in the Dominican Republic, and we were intentional about filming several kinds of videos. We have one-off short form tip videos with a strong hook, quick message, and a call to action. We made like trip recap videos where we storyboarded out the whole thing, and it's going to be longer and takes cinematically takes through the whole event. And then I also made sure to like record him saying stuff as we were doing stuff to create just a more general like day in the life type video. So we're trying all kinds of stuff. I think
That's
that's what
awesome.
everyone should do.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on the social media specifically. What other marketing efforts have you found drive a lot of value in terms of like
Outside of
email
social
marketing
media,
or SEO and stuff like that?
yeah, so we do email. We have an email newsletter for our investment company. So we'll use our social media ultimately to get people onto our email list so that we can own that and keep people updated about updates on upcoming potential investments. So we use social media to drive people there. We also so our company has a podcast called the Hotel Investor Playbook that talks about hotel investing. We drive people to our email newsletter there. And I think having an email list is good because that's your audience that you own. In terms of SEO, personally, I haven't done anything with that. That's not my area of expertise.
Yeah. Yeah, the hostel crowd I can see being much heavier on social media, full steam ahead,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Awesome. And then to wrap everything up, we always end with this question. What does someone have to ask themselves or someone else to be successful in this space?
I would say, how bad do you want it? Being an entrepreneur and building a business is extremely difficult. And if you don't have a strong why of why you're doing what you want to do, and you're gonna go above and beyond what you think is reasonable and work harder than you think you have to for longer than you think you have to, all the spoils go to the top. So you're gonna end up in the middle, and the middle's bigger than 50%. It's probably like 90%. So whatever it is you're doing, you got to try harder than you think is reasonable, and it's probably going to take longer than you thought, but have fun along the way.
I love that. Yeah, I had my friend Ben Wolf on the pod a few
Oh,
episodes ago,
nice.
and he said that success is a matter of your pain tolerance. It was like, how much pain are
Hmm.
you willing to put up with as you like are pushing through these walls? And I love that. I've been meditating a lot on that lately. I like what you're saying too. Like you have to go bigger and harder than
100%.
you actually think you need to 10x it.
Yeah. And you never realize the people at the top how much they're actually doing until you find out, and you're like,
Yeah, 100%. Brandon, this has been an absolute
totally.
blast. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Brandon Hien, Brandon underscore Hien, and post regularly on there. And you can, find the How's it Hostels is HOWZIT Hostels. It's a pretty entertaining account to follow if you like stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to be posting a lot more on both of those accounts. Would love to connect with you on there. I like connecting to other people who create content too, as a social media fan myself. So feel free to reach out, follow.
Brandon, this has been a blast. We'll have to have you back on for an update at some point in the future.
Heck yeah, totally. I'm sure I'll see you in person at some event here at some point too. So can't wait for it.
Yeah, 100%. Cheers. Thanks, brother.
Yep. Thank you.